What is the difference between sheep and goats? Sheep and goats are among the oldest of human livestock. They've lived and walked beside us for millennia, so long that they are almost part of the furniture, as the saying goes. But where did sheep and goats come from? How did they come to play such an important role in our lives? More importantly, what are the differences between the two animals? Are there any differences at all? Stay tuned as we answer these and more questions about our hooved friends. Sheep. 9 times out of 10, when someone talks of sheep, they are referring to the domesticated livestock type of sheep, which is known to scientists as Ovis aries. That's right, not all sheep are domestic. In strict taxonomic terms, a sheep is any animal in the Ovis genus. The genus itself falls under the Bovidae or cattle family, which means all sheep are ruminants. Furthermore, Bovidae falls under the Areodactyla order of even-toed ungulates. All in all, there are 7 extant species of Ovis, including our domestic sheep. The other 6 are wild, with notable examples including the Asian Urial, Ovis vignae, the North American Dall, Ovis dolly, the Argali, Ovis ammon, and the bighorn sheep, Ovis canadensis. Interestingly, all wild sheep species are native to the Northern Hemisphere. Despite their superficial and geographic differences, all Ovis species have similar traits and characteristics. Terminology is one of these. All female sheep, for example, are called ewes, while adult males with all their bits intact are called rams. Juveniles are known as lambs, while castrated males are known as wethers. A grouping of sheep is a flock, mob, or herd. Oh, and the plural form of sheep is sheep. Physically, sheep are on the smaller end of the ungulate and bovid spectra. The mouflon, Ovis gmelini, of Central Asia and the Middle East, is the smallest of the wild species, with shoulder heights of up to 2.9 feet and a maximum weight of 110 pounds. The Argali is the largest of all wild sheep. Its shoulder height ranges between 3 and 4 feet, and its body length is between 4 and 7 feet. Females can top out at 220 pounds, while males as large as 785 pounds have been reported. Male sheep of all species are usually significantly larger than their female counterparts. For domestic sheep, males of a specific breed are generally bigger than females of the same breed. All sheep are primarily grazers, though they supplement their diets with other plant material and even lichen. Like typical ruminants, sheep possess 4-chambered stomachs that facilitate the chewing of cud and, ultimately, thorough digestion. These ruminant traits allow sheep to extract maximum nutritional value from every morsel they eat. These super digestion powers, combined with sheep's ability to retain water, allow these animals to survive and even thrive in some of the toughest resource-deprived places in the world. Most sheep, wild and domestic, sport thick coats of hair to shield them from the elements. This is because the Northern Hemisphere generally has far harsher winters than the Southern. These coats typically have an upper layer of long, stiff hair and an underlayer of short, woolly fuzz. In wild species, the size and coverage of the coat varies depending on the time of the year. They grow long and thick for the winter months and shed the excess hair come springtime. Wild sheep, male and female, also have relatively large horns. The aptly named bighorn sheep has horns that weigh as much as the rest of its skeleton. When it comes to domestic sheep, the presence of horns is less consistent. Some breeds have ewes and rams that can grow horns. In many breeds, only rams can grow horns. Then we also have breeds that do not grow horns at all, regardless of sex. Sheep are very alert animals with keen senses, necessary traits for any prey animal. When threatened, they run away, usually to high ground since most of them are good at climbing hills and mountains. They communicate with each other via body language cues and their iconic vocalizations. This vocalization is known as bleating, or as our younger viewers would call it, baa. Sheep have had a relationship with humans ever since we emerged on the scene. They were historically prey animals for early humans, providing meat, pelts, and bones that could be used as tools, weapons, or ornaments. Then, sometime between 11,000 and 9,000 BC, humans began domesticating them and keeping them as livestock. The general consensus is that the domestication of sheep took place in Mesopotamia, but there is some debate. Today, we have over 200 breeds of domestic sheep. Extensive DNA analysis of many of these breeds suggests that domestic sheep are descended from the mouflon. We keep sheep for wool, meat, pelts, and even scientific research. Meat from mature sheep is called mutton, while meat from lambs is also called lamb. Domesticated sheep also play a big role in human culture. They feature prominently in many of the world's oldest religions and mythologies, often as a symbol of virtue, innocence, and sacrifice. They are also featured in modern culture, representing positive and negative traits. Rams, for instance, are a common symbol of masculinity, toughness, or a fighting spirit. Lambs can represent faithfulness or selflessness, while ewes can symbolize motherhood or fertility. We sometimes also use the word sheep to describe people who just follow the crowd without thinking for themselves. Goats. A goat is simply the greatest of all time. Just kidding. Get it? On a more serious note, goats are animals with taxonomic circumstances similar to sheep. They belong to the same family, Bovidae, and subfamily, Caprinae, as sheep, making them even-toed ruminants too. Outside of Lionel Messi or Michael Jordan, most talk of goats refers to the domestic goat we keep as livestock. The domestic goat is known as Capra hircus to taxonomists. However, we have wild goats too. Beside hircus, the Capra genus is home to 9 other species. These 9 species are known as goats, ibexes, or other localized names. Notable examples are the Iberian ibex, Capra pyrenaica, alpine ibex, Capra, wild goat, Capra aegagrus, East Caucasian tur, Capra cylindricornis, and the markhor, Capra falconeri. Again, all wild goats are native to the northern hemisphere. Male goats are called bucks or billy goats, while females are called does or nanny goats. Juveniles are known as kids. Like sheep, goats are small ungulates. The biggest wild species is the Siberian ibex, Capra siberica, which can grow to 290 pounds and stand 43 inches tall at the shoulder. The smallest is the Nubian ibex, which tops out at 165 pounds. Goats are rugged animals that are predominantly found in hilly and mountainous regions. They are expert climbers and seek lofty heights to survey their surroundings and evade predators. They are common prey for all sorts of animals: wolves, wild cats, bears, and even birds of prey. Goats are best described as herbivores, rather than just grazers. While they do eat grasses, a lot of their diet comes from other plant materials like shrubs, bushes, and low-hanging tree leaves. Like their ovis cousins, they have a hardy digestive system that consists of a 4-chambered stomach and cud chewing. This allows them to get ample nutrition in environments where other animals would struggle. Goats are also highly efficient at extracting water from their food, and their bodies do not lose moisture easily. This trait is why they thrive in deserts or areas where water is scarce. As prey animals, goats have developed sharp senses like eyesight, hearing, and smell to help them detect danger. They have vocalizations too, but their bleating sounds more like meh rather than the sheep's baa. Other trademark goat features are horns and beards. Both male and female goats sport horns and beards, though these features are usually more pronounced in males. Male markhors, with their 63-inch long horns and grizzled wizard beards, are the most flamboyant examples of these two features. Many species from colder climes also have thick coats that follow a seasonal growing and shedding cycle. When it comes to their relationship with humans, the story is also pretty similar to that of sheep. At first, they were just prey, until we figured out how to domesticate them. Goats were domesticated at least 10,000 years ago in a region that is now known as Iran. Genetic analysis shows that modern domestic goats come from the Bezoar ibex, Capra aegagrus stock. Domestic goats provide meat, milk, fur, and pelts. Goats are among the most common forms of livestock because of their relatively low purchase and maintenance costs, quick reproductive cycles, and hardiness in the face of harsh elements. There are close to 1 billion domestic goats around the world at any given time, a testament to their popularity and adaptability. Goats also have a place of high cultural significance around the globe. From folk tales to religious teachings, rituals, and sacrifices, goats are everywhere. Many tales and fables from antiquity feature goats or goats hybridized with humans or other animals. Deities like ancient Greece's Pan are depicted as man-like creatures with goat horns, beards, and legs. They are wealth or status symbols for many ancient tribes and have been used for bartering for millennia. Goats are a common form of marital dowry too, being transferred from family to family to seal unions. These days, goats are used as logos on coats of arms and in other iconography. In the social media age, the acronym GOAT is used to praise people as the greatest of all time. How are they different? While both sheep and goats are ungulates and bovids from the same subfamily, they do have some key differences. Perhaps the easiest way to tell a sheep from a goat is to look at their coats. Many domestic sheep breeds have shaggy coats of wool that need regular care and shearing. On the flip side, most domestic goats have short fur that you'll probably never need to shear. Another easy difference is the animals' faces. All goats, wild or domestic, have pronounced beards hanging off their chins. No species or breed of sheep has a beard. Then there's the lips. If you look closely, you'll notice that the sheep's upper lips have a dividing groove. Goat lips are not divided. If the lips fail to help you, you can check out their tails. If the tail is pointing downward, chances are you're looking at a sheep. Goats tend to have tails that stick upward. The horns are different too. Many domestic sheep don't have horns at all, while all goats have horns. Sheep that can grow them have horns that are so curved that they may point downward or even forward. Apart from the markhor, with its spiral horns, goat horns have a less pronounced curvature and never point downwards or forward. Goats and sheep have different vocalizations too, as we've already discussed. Sheep bleat with a ba sound, while goats have a meh cry. Diet-wise, goats have a more varied palate than sheep. They are more inclined to browse for leaves and shrubs, while sheep tend to stick to grasses and a few weeds. Then we have a few less obvious differences. For starters, sheep have 54 chromosomes, while goats have 60. Sheep have a shorter estrus period than goats, which is why many people believe breeding sheep is more difficult than breeding goats. Goats are also more individualistic and curious than sheep. They often break off from the herd and go exploring. Sheep seldom do this and stick very close to their flock. Lastly is their smell. Male goats have a very pungent odor when trying to attract mates in the breeding season. Male sheep have a seductive smell too, but it is not as strong as that of goats.